Hey everyone, how's it going? So here's my breakdown of the episode 3 trailer for The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon season 3. So definitely make sure to be a subscriber if you want to get all my Walking Dead content like this. It looks like this is going to be the episode where things are starting to happen now with the community. And obviously if you watch episode 2, you can kind of see how things are starting to play out here in this community. But I also should say that this will contain spoilers for the episode. But yeah, let's just get into this here. So on the next The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon, that it looks like this story here, at least for Daryl, is going to take place at this lighthouse here. And so I think it's going to be, a journey with him and Roberto going out here to try and find some supplies for the boat. And I do think that Roberto's going to help him, find some supplies and whatnot. And then when he comes back, I think the community is going to be absolutely, going through a lot of stuff. And we'll talk about that as we're getting through the trailer here. We do see Daryl here outside the lighthouse, and yeah, it's really awesome visuals here. I'm really excited about this storyline for this episode because, I don't know, I like lighthouses, and I feel like The Walking Dead never has really been around a lighthouse for the most part, right? So it's going to be kind of cool to actually see this environment here. I know that Daryl and Roberto are going to go onto a boat that's like in the water, so I think we're going to get some really cool water scenes because we actually do see some of that here in the trailer. We do see Daryl and Roberto actually go onto this boat and get a bunch of supplies here. Like, maybe it's not for the boat specifically, but it's something to do with someone in the community needing help or whatever. But this is a classic Walking Dead mission where, it's basically a supply run, right? And Daryl and Roberto have to go out there. And so, yeah, we'll see, I guess, how they're able to handle themselves. I mean, we know Daryl will be fine, but I do wonder, what Roberto was going to learn from Daryl here and what we're going to learn about the character, because I know the character can be frustrating, at least based off of the early reviews. I've seen some people say that the character can be frustrating, but I think if you do understand that, the character is just going through quite a bit of stuff. Like, he's young and, he's worried about Justina and stuff. So it's just like, it makes a lot of sense. Like, he doesn't want to be there at that community. He's very rebellious. He just wants to get away. And when I say rebellious, I mean, there's obviously an element to that, like when you're younger, at least for a lot of people. But I would say for him, there's a legit reason why he doesn't want to be there. Like, I would not want to deal with that there as well. So, yeah, we'll have to wait and see how he comes across in this episode here. But I am looking forward to the storyline here and seeing Daryl and Roberto go to this boat here and get supplies and see what new walkers are here. We then see the king here, who goes by King Torres, I believe. I don't know if that's sort of what they call him, but his name is Guillermo Torres, but he is the king. And so I guess King Torres, I could be wrong with that. You can let me know, but that's what I'm going to call him for now. So King Torres here is asking Fede, what kind of town is Solaz Del Mar? And I think it's because he's really upset that Carol, and I guess Daryl didn't really necessarily say anything, but Carol was questioning, the help that they were getting from, I guess the king here. And so he's pretty upset about that. And so I think that's why he's asking Fede here, like, what kind of town is Solaz Del Mar? Like, we do all this for you, this and that, and you embarrass us like that or whatever. So I think he's really, really upset. I do think that there's going to be some really horrible things that happen here to Fede, and I'm really wondering if they find out that he lied about that name that he took on that ribbon, because there's actually a shot here, and we'll get to that right now, but we do see Justina actually like in tears here, and she's looking at like this name that's here, and it does say Justina, and she's in tears. And so it does seem like something happened here where she finds out that that was actually the name that was taken. And so maybe Fede took the name away, or I don't know, I don't know if he lied about what the name was because maybe someone was there to sort of like see what the name was going to be. But something's off here though, for sure, because obviously she sees her name here. So I do think that Fede was lying about this, because I mean, it's either he's lying or he has like this, secret thing or whatever with the king where it's like, well, we'll do this, this and that, but just never take her name or whatever. And if I ever see her name, I'll just say someone else kind of thing. Like, I don't know if that's going to be, an agreement that they have there, but obviously there is something here that is wrong. And I actually just believe that he probably lied about it, because it just makes a lot of sense when I'm thinking about the scene there. I just think that he saw the name and he was like, no, there's no way Justina is going to be going, and just said someone else. And obviously that's messed up in a lot of other ways, but you also understand, I mean, why he's doing that. So I think that Justina is going to find out. And so that's why in this scene here where we see her tearing up, I actually think that she's just finding out. And so she's going to be pretty emotional about that. Like, I could have been the one to go. And then how does she live with that? Like, she's going to see Alba go there, and she's going to be like, I don't know if I'm okay with this, because like, I'm supposed to be the one going. She's the one that's supposed to be staying here. And so she might just end up going, or maybe the king finds out just in general. And so the whole thing is ruined. But I think that that's going to make Justina look I guess not the best. I will say that I think that Justina, out of all the characters here, is a very honest character, because when Daryl needed help, or when Carol needed help, I guess both of them needed help, but she was willing to help them. And obviously they were trying to run away, but she was like, no, I can't do this. Like, I gotta help them out. And Roberto was, really upset about that, but she's like, no, I need to help them out. Like, this is wrong if we just left, right? Like, we need to help them out. So I think that she's not gonna be able to live with this. And I do think that she's gonna say at the end of the episode, or towards the end, like, no, actually, she shouldn't be going. I should be going, because that was the name that was taken here. And that's why when we get to this shot here, we do see Fede, and he actually looks very surprised by something. And I actually think that it's just that. I think that, he's finding out that Justina is going now. And so maybe he ends up taking both of them, because of Fede lying, or maybe now something bad is going to happen or whatever. Like, I feel like there is going to be something bad that happens from this. And I do think that Justina is going to go. And I don't think Daryl is here the entire time. So we do see Carol here, and Carol is like sort of reacting to a lot of it, and they don't give us a lot in the trailer. We do see Carol and Antonio here. They're pretty shocked by what's happening here, but I do think that they understand what's going on. They're going to think that it's all messed up in general, and I think that that is going to be the cliffhanger for the episode, is Justina is going to be taken away, and then we have Daryl and Roberto, who are obviously on a mission. They're going to come back, and Roberto's going to find out that Justina was taken. And then there's going to be a lot of issues immediately. And that's where some of this story, is going to get really exciting. And I think Daryl is going to be like, all right, I guess I have to help them out, right? And I think that's where Daryl's story is going to go here for episode 3. I think that's where he's like, all right, I'm going to go there and I'm going to save Justina. And so I think he will go there. There's going to be a bunch of stuff that happens. He's probably going to ask, a lot of other people for help and stuff against his community. There's going to be some sort of build to this. I'm not sure where everything's going to go. I don't know if they rescued Justina way before. All I know is that there's supposed to be like a 30-minute action scene, which is going to be super exciting. I don't know when that is. It could be soon, or it could be way later in the season. Remember, there's 7 episodes here this season. So after this episode, we still have 5 more, which is super exciting. I'm really looking forward to episode 3, because I do think that this story is compelling enough that a lot of people are going to be interested, because I've really just been seeing positive reviews about this season. I haven't seen anything yet. There's been a couple of comments I'll say, oh, it was so boring or whatever, and that was more referring to the first episode, but I've been seeing a lot of positive comments here, and I think that the one thing that makes this show work really well, or at least this season, is just that the story is something that everyone can relate with, because it's something that is just absolutely horrible and terrifying, and you don't want to see anyone go through things like that. And so you want Carol and Daryl to help them, but Daryl not wanting to, that's not like a boring storyline either, because you kind of get why. Like, he's been wanting to go home for so long now, and so everything feels like it's natural to the characters, natural to how a human being would react in all of these situations here, because we're all sort of reacting the same way. And it's actually really exciting, because they have to really make it so that in episode 2, like, if Justina's taken away, obviously this is like a theory and all that, but if she's actually taken, that it's so heartbreaking, and we're like really mad, really upset, and like, I can't believe this is happening, and like, Carol, do something, someone do something, Daryl, get back there, right? We all have to have that reaction, because I think if we all have that reaction, then the story is that great, right? And it's actually connecting with people, and I think that that is somewhat, true. I think that is what is happening here. I'm really excited to see how Daryl is going to go after this community, because Carol seems to really just stay back for the most part. There's not a lot of scenes, or at least from the trailers and stuff, where we do see Carol actually out there outside the community. She's really just inside the community the entire time. So I don't think we're going to see too much of Carol going out there. I mean, maybe, obviously, like, the trailers usually only show stuff from the first couple of episodes. And so I think that by episode 5, that's going to be like the Western episode. I'm excited to see how all of that connects to all of this. Like, we're learning so much of like what's going on here, and like, what is it going to build to by the finale? It's going to build to something huge here. And there's supposed to be a cliffhanger. So like, and then if Cadrone's going to be there in season 4, like if he returns, like, how is this all going to build to like this really awesome epic story that is likely going to end with Daryl and Carol going back home to Spain? Like, really, actually, did I just say Spain? I meant America. I don't know if I just said Spain, but I meant America, like them getting back to America. If they actually go back to America, I mean, just this whole story is going to be so incredible. Honestly, I do think that, you can ignore season 2. I know that there's some issues there, but some parts of the story worked. But I would say overall, if the story for season 3 continues like this and gets even better, and season 4 is even better than season 3, I would look at these 4 seasons of this show and be like, honestly, amazing show. Like easy, like what, 8.5 out of 10? I would say for sure. I know season 2 has issues, but I would say so far they're somewhat making up for it, but we'll have to see where this goes. Anyways, I'm gonna leave it here. Definitely post all your thoughts down below on episode 3. Post your predictions. Do you think there's gonna be any deaths in episode 3? Do you think Justina is gonna get taken away? Do you think that Fede was lying? And yeah, just post all your theories down below. It's kind of exciting that I actually really like the characters here, because normally I'll do a video on like some characters that are like the new characters in the spinoffs, and like I don't really care that much. To be honest, I don't really care. Like even when I'm looking at Dead City, like the Croat, Dama, they're all really cool, but like they're not as exciting as these characters, and we just met these characters. So I think it's because the story in Dead City is kind of boring, even though the characters are really awesome. I think the story is just not that exciting, and that's what's hurting that show. Whereas with this show, it's like the story's actually really interesting and we all care about all the characters already. And so I'm excited to see how everyone's going to respond to episode 2 later on tonight. Yeah, stay tuned for my scene breakdowns. I'll be doing 2 videos later on tonight breaking down 2 really awesome scenes from tonight's episode. So yeah, The Walking Dead is back. It's amazing, and I'll see you in the next one.